Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
So, okay, I needed to talk about Substack, and I have no other forum to do so outside of the two other shows that I do that aren't about breaking down a trade.
Right.
So, Substack is this thing that is like huge right now in the comic book industry.
In the comic book industry?
Yes, in the comic book industry.
Because I Googled it right before the show,
It had
it
nothing
didn't
to
mention
do.
comic
No,
books.
it didn't. So people are like, everyone's talking about it. Not a lot of people probably understand what the hell's happening, including myself. So I'm happy to give some layman advice and break it down for you.
We're talking about the area below the stacks inside the GoldenEye game, right? That's what Substack is?
Substack, apparently, according to Wikipedia, is an online platform that provides publishing, payment, analytics, and design infrastructure to support subscription newsletters. And Substack had, only a few months ago, hired comic book writer Nick Spencer to kind of handle the comic book arm. The Substack had said, well, okay, so apparently the newsletter thing, yeah, that's what we do, but we also want to break into other industries and kind of tackle those as well. Spencer brought in a number of people who all kind of came in over the last few days where they announced these creators are going pretty much exclusively to Substack. The most recent upset...
Exclusively?
Well, some of them, like James Tynion IV, who had, of course, gained prevalence by working under Scott Snyder and then breaking out in his own independent works and also writing Batman as a solo title. He left Batman. He's leaving in the next few months, and he's leaving all, like, the whole thing. He's leaving DC and Batman to just work at Substack, or for Substack, to make his own creations.
Oh, so it's just going to be independent work.
Yeah,
it's not
it's
like
all-
Substack distributes
Nope.
like a DC or Marvel
Nope.
on an electronic level.
Nope, it's just, okay, so it is literally just a newsletter website where you go and you subscribe to your favorite newsletter writer, and you'll get
It's like
access
like
to their...
podcasts, but for writing.
Exactly. And now they're like, well, how about if it's like a Patreon for a comic book creator who also makes comic books that you can then view through that Patreon model.
Now, you can't own it, I take it.
You can own it. You can download the PDF and you can own the book yourself. Now, here's the interesting thing is that Substack offered this deal to a number of creators, which include James Tynion IV, who did leave DC, or at least is leaving DC at the time of this taping, and Scott Snyder went to Substack, but he already had like an 8-book deal exclusively with Comixology Originals. So he's doing that. He also is still definitely going to keep doing like random DC stuff throughout, but like he's really focusing on his own imprint, which will be going digital through Comixology and physical through Dark Horse. His Best Jacket Press, which is the name of his imprint, newsletter will be available through Substack.
What does he put in his newsletter?
Fuck if I know.
Because it's not comics, right?
It's not
a
comics. It's a newsletter.
It's
So you're going to have access to like what Scott's up to. Also, he did say that he's going to be like not using social media that much. So it's more like
if you want to hear from him.
if you want to
Yeah.
see what's up with Scott Snyder, you're going to have to subscribe to his newsletter and pay $7 a month to do it.
Yeah, why would I have free information on Twitter
Yeah.
if you can pay me for that information on Substack?
Well, and a number of these comic book creators, which include Chip Zdarsky and Al Ewing and Jonathan Hickman, are all going to Substack. And they're all going to work on their own independent properties. And they're going to work with top-tier talent to produce these works. Substack brought them in and is going to facilitate their Substack profile and let them make their books and distribute them to their fans.
Okay.
And then, if the creator wants, they can take those books and print them anywhere they want. Substack owns none of the exclusivity rights to these books or
They
these
just come out
properties.
there first.
They just come out there first. That's it.
Right.
That's it.
Now-
and yeah, go ahead.
Because that's their business model.
Yeah,
We're
their
a
business
newsletter.
model is we're a newsletter model. We're not a comic book company. But
Yeah,
like,
we distribute it,
but they could have been.
It's yours.
But they could have been. That's the thing.
Right.
And I think the reason why everybody went to it is because Substack got a significant cash infusion to the tune of tens of millions of dollars, and this handful of the top creators in the comic book industry, the big two, going to them probably got a significant payout. And that payout is going to go towards producing these independent books that they would have wanted to make anyway. They didn't have to worry about raising the capital, doing Kickstarter or Patreon or anything like that. They just got paid by Substack, and the only caveat is it's got to go through Substack.
Right.
Now, are you also allowed to release video on Substack?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, think Patreon. Think Patreon, because most of these creators are treating it like that. Where, for example, Chip Zdarsky is leaving pretty much all social media and is going to be, he has a newsletter, and his newsletter will now be available through Substack. And depending on how much you pay per month or per year, you can have access to video updates or conferencing with these creators, including Chip, to talk to them or to get advice or ideas from.
I can guarantee you that some of the curators in this are going to be talking about how to break into the comic book industry.
Oh, yeah, of course.
How to draw in a certain style.
Well, they're all writers.
like tutorials and things.
Yeah.
So what it is like, it sounds like there's people who already kind of had newsletters.
Oh, yeah.
Who
Scott definitely had a
probably
newsletter.
nobody
Chip had a
read them.
newsletter. Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, well, there's a service
Yeah.
that specializes in newsletters, and they've already got a bunch of people
Right.
on their platform. So why don't I just go on there,
Right.
have a potentially bigger audience?
But is it a better audience or is it a bigger audience? I feel like,
Maybe. Well, so what I've read about it is that it like blew up during the pandemic.
it did. Yes.
So like that's probably why they got a huge cash infusion, because they got a whole bunch of new subscribers.
Exactly.
And investors are like, ooh,
oh,
here's
you
the
actually,
hot new thing.
you're not going to be dead in a year. So
Right.
we're in.
Right.
And they gave them a significant amount of money.
Now-
but to break into a brand new industry, which is comic distribution.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, there's a bunch of users on Substack, but do any of them care about comic books?
Right, and I think that's
Probably
why
not.
no, but I think that's why they brought in Nick Spencer to be like, okay, so probably 90%, 99% of our audience doesn't care about comic books. They're not here for that because that's not what we do.
Right.
Come up with how Substack can be for that now.
Yeah, and how we can get people to subscribe to it.
Yeah, and the trick.
I've heard that the comic book industry is dying. How can I like get what's left of it?
Yes, how can I
here?
pick the
'Cause
bones?
it sounds like the existing companies are shitting the bed.
Yes,
So
yes.
that seems kind of like maybe an opportunity.
Right. Well,
I mean, especially
because
with Diamond.
yes,
Well,
with what
yes,
Diamond did,
yes.
yeah, and the creators themselves are probably resentful of the current models that are in place. And of course, we just got news recently, which has been news. It's not news because we've been hearing it for years, which is they made $1 billion on the latest Captain Marvel movie, and these people worked on the movie by writing the comic books and creating the characters that were used in the movie that everybody loves, and they only got like a handshake and a nice box of Christmas meat.
Right.
You know, like, oh. And it's like, yeah, but those are two different industries and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get into like whether or not it's fair, it's not, but whether it's not fair for them to be only paid for creating for an industry that then is pretty much a direct pipeline to the movie industry.
Right.
But
isn't treated as such.
yeah, exactly. But now it's like, okay, so these we're gonna take the top creators of the comic book industry, we're gonna move them over here. They're gonna focus on their independent work, which is what they want to do anyway. It gives them an opportunity to make whatever they want. Kyle Higgins had said on a show that I was on recently that he wouldn't be surprised if the money that they get isn't going just to getting the top tier talent of artists to work with them to make their independent books, but also to hire other creators, maybe not as big as them, but still quite as prolific or influential, to start creating books under their own imprints, almost like a studio model. Like when Image was first formed, they got in Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee, and they created Extreme and Wildstorm Studios, respectively, where they brought in millions of dollars and produced maybe one book every 6 months.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense if they're going to do that because you're being paid for newsletters, but if you're a comic creator,
Yeah.
why not get paid to make comics?
Well, that's why
and
they're
you
paying them.
Why not take some of that money and then funnel that into artists that you really feel that can
Well, that's
work
the
on
thing.
books, and then you have your own label.
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing. They're not even like, when they're bringing in these comic book creators, they're not even thinking about the newsletter. The newsletter is almost secondary at this point.
Right.
They're just like, no, make the books. We're going to use the way we get people their newsletter and instead send them the comic book that they're producing.
Yeah. Well, the newsletter will probably contain a list of all the books that are coming
Oh, no
out
doubt.
under their
Well, and-
new imprint.
And maybe it'll have like a fun blog or something that gives you the process of how they produce the book.
almost like a foreword. that
Yes,
describes-
exactly. But a monthly forward
Yeah.
that gives you like constant new updates about what's happening and all the fun stuff that goes into it. So this is one of those things where it's like the comic book industry pays very little, and the rewards are very slim, outside of like vanity. Because it's like if you create a character for the big two, you don't own it, they use and exploit it, and you get very little out
get
of it.
like a
Maybe a free
percentage.
premiere. No, you don't even. Some of them you don't even get a percentage. You get like you get to go to see the movie starring the character you created, or you get like maybe like $5,000
Yeah.
You know, but when they make $2 billion, you're kind of like, I feel like I'm entitled to that. You know what? Then maybe you should renegotiate the deal, and this is maybe a negotiation tactic. There's a lot of things going into this where it's like they're already in a place where they're not being paid enough, asterisk fairly, and in comes this tech company that's like, I got tens of millions of dollars, and I'm gonna give you a lot of it. So you could just make whatever you want. You can
remember all the money you didn't make at those companies?
Yeah.
Here's more.
Here's more than you would ever make in a year.
Yeah, but only the top
Oh yeah, no, of course.
writers are going to get that.
not everyone's getting it.
Oh no, just the people that have audiences that can bring their audiences to my platform.
Just the ones that we might be able to make some amount of money on.
Yeah, the people that we want to snipe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the question is like, is this going to last, or is this like a one-time thing? They got this cash infusion. They're going to try to launch
this whole new thing,
comic arm of their business.
Right.
But is it going to work?
Right.
Also,
and I feel like no.
Well, that's interesting.
And what's the implication of this now with the big two or with other comic book publishers? Are they going to be blacklisted artists? We're like,
oh
you
my God.
abandoned publishing. You went to Substack. You're out.
Right. I can imagine.
We're not working with you anymore.
I can imagine that there is a.
Well, does that happen with like Image currently? Like, if an artist wants to go do an independent book?
No. In fact, there are contracts in place for people who work for the big two that like they are allowed.
Yeah.
You know, there's exclusivity contracts where it's like work for DC and not Marvel, but you can still make Image books because it's just so infinitesimal comparatively that it's like, go ahead, make your little independent project. You know, that will probably end up being.
You'll be back.
You'll be back. Well, not even you'll be back, but like you can do it on the side. It's fine.
Right.
And like and you know what? I hope as DC that you get picked up. That like that comic gets turned into some kind of TV show or movie, so that you can just get your brand out there and make more money and make us more money because people are watching your thing and then they're buying the comic book with your name on them.
Yeah, there's that, and there's also the go ahead, make your little thing. Get your creative ideals out of the way, so that when you come back, you're making what I want.
Exactly. You make your Batman, all right? Because that's what I'm looking for here. You got to make the McDonald's here. For me, it's kind of like I have had a full plate of enough of being nickeled and dimed by pop culture. I don't know about the rest of you, but like.
Oh no, give me more.
I gotta pay, and it's not just one or two, it's $7 a month at the lowest echelon for all of them. So if I love Chip Zdarsky, Jonathan Hickman, Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, that's $28 a month.
You gotta do $7 a month for
each creator,
one?
yes.
Oh, fuck that.
So, do you get everything that they produce?
You don't get everything they produce. No, that's the lowest level. You get access to maybe the book. You get access, but the book, by the way, isn't going to come out every month because that's not how art works. It takes longer than a month to produce each book.
That's why I'm buying like this issue during this month and a different book the next month because it takes time to put this stuff together.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, but Scott Snyder or whoever would say, well, that's why I'm going to have these other people,
exactly.
You know, 2 or 3 people
right underneath.
Underneath me, I'm gonna have, it's gonna be like 4 books a month or something for your $7.
Well, and Scott is doing that.
Instead of paying, $3 a book times 4 books, $12, you're only paying $7.
That's true.
Maybe.
Well, Scott's not even getting the books through there. So really, you're paying more for Snyder's books, or you can get Comixology Unlimited, and you're only paying a smaller fee to have access to all the books up to and including his. So his maneuver is actually rather devious because he's making it so it's like, if you love me. And by the way, thank you. You can just get the newsletter. You pay for the newsletter, you get like early access to like what I'm working on in my process. Maybe get access to some online classes about how to write. That's what he's offering. It's like you can get that, but you're not getting the book. The book's going through over there where you already buy your comic books. But my friends, though, you're going to have to pay to get a PDF from them.
Yeah. I don't think there's a market for this. I mean,
see, I don't think so either.
Because there's barely a market for the existing comics, and none of the like big two are going to be offered through this. It's going to be like independent.
It's all independent comic books, but it's the biggest, most exciting creators working on these things. For example, Jonathan Hickman, who's used to like creating universes and making all kinds of, he's already come out swinging. Where he's like, I'm creating a whole. It's 3 Earths, 3 moons, and there's people who are working on every aspect of the 3 different realities, and it's going to be this whole universe of creation and characters and stuff, and it's going to blow your fucking mind.
Cool. So if a book doesn't come out in the month that I paid for the subscription, do I get my money back?
Oh no, because you're already paying for things. You see, you're paying. Number 1, you're paying for me. Number 2, you're paying for access to like my newsletter. or my behind the scenes information. Like, I will give you some measure of reward, and also you get the book.
So this is not a system where people are going to be paying for comics. This is just a system to get like better access to the creators and their ideas and their thought processes and like what they do in their off time.
And it's funding the opportunity, and devil's advocate, it's funding the opportunity, which by the way, it's already funded, but you're paying into the thing that exists that is facilitating your favorite creators making something new and independent.
Yeah.
Like, their dreams are already funded.
And your description of a Patreon is exactly correct.
It's a Patreon.
Definitely a Patreon. Yeah. But I just don't understand. I don't think you can get more than, what, 3, 4 top creators that are going to be able to like make money on this.
Oh yeah, well, and that's the thing.
At $7 a month. See, that's the I don't see, unless it's like you said, they're going to aggregate all these other independent creators under them.
Well, they might, yeah, some of them might.
It would seem like that's the only way to keep it going, at least for the smaller guys, because most people can't sell $7 a month worth of content.
Well, no. Or they're producing for free online. Like, we have a Patreon, and that Patreon is for you to get early access to videos and or behind the scenes information about what's happening on the channel.
Yeah.
You're under no obligation to join it. If you do, you're doing it because you believe in the Patreon system, because everything we send you for free.
And thank you.
Oh yeah, we appreciate it. No. And I'm not like begrudging that system.
No.
And I also appreciate that like Substack is giving them an opportunity. Yeah. Substack could have come to them and been like, you create your own Patreons, basically. And they're like, yeah, that's a good idea, bye, and then go make their own Patreons.
Right.
But, number one...
You're not guaranteed that money.
Well,
Substack is saying, here's the money up front.
You're getting all the money right now, and we're banking on giving you this money in exchange for your audiences, and hopefully they'll stay around long enough for us to recoup some of that investment. But that investment's free money anyway, so it's like, who cares? Like, I understand the motivation behind being like, I get paid not much. I have to pay, because the system's in place right now for making independent comic books sucks, and it's expensive. Right. Even if you were working as a big level creator at Image, you're on the hook for the sales of these books. Like if you don't make as much as they anticipated, you got to pay that back.
Yeah. So like I paid for 50,000 copies. I only sold 20,000.
Yeah, you owe me 30,000 more copies, or really is the difference, and that sucks. And it's like if someone says, "I'm going to give you," and it's a made-up number. I don't know the numbers. I'm not even going to speculate. I'm going to give you $1 million this year to make books, and as long as you make a newsletter every month and a book comes out, I'll say, you've earned it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, it's under your discretion.
Yeah. Okay, but like they're doing that right now.
Oh yeah, no. I fully expect it. Let's say Substack.
And then you're on your own.
Oh yeah.
For every following year.
Yes.
So like.
Yeah, but I'm hopeful.
Sink or swim.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you're expecting your audience to follow you,
right,
and to be so in love with this process that they're going to stay.
Right.
I don't see that happening.
It's a signing bonus, essentially.
I would do it.
If
I was a top tier writer, I would absolutely take the money
and
try it, because you have nothing to lose. They're giving you the money up front.
Yeah.
And if it succeeds, then you're more independent than you were before. You're keeping probably more of the percentage.
Totally.
Because I read that Substack takes 10%.
Yes, they do.
So, they're getting 90%.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
And they have exclusive publishing rights. So whatever you produce, you could take that and then whip up your own sweetheart deal with Boom, Image, Dark Horse, whoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're not sure if there are restrictions on this. We don't know if it's like, oh, I'm giving you, say, $1 million to start this.
Well,
and if you don't hit a certain number or subscription base,
here's the thing.
Like you don't get to keep all of it, or you owe certain percentage
I don't
back.
think that the names on this list would all be in it if that were the proviso, because I think some of them are too savvy to be like, I'm not paying back, because it's like they're taking the deal because they can't afford $1 million. So it's like, I'm taking the $1 million or whatever number it is, and I'm not going to assume anything. We're just using it as a placeholder. But
there's probably a requirement for like amount of work produced. Like,
sure,
you must produce 12 issues of a book.
You can't take the money and then just sit.
Yeah. So like they probably have to produce something.
No doubt.
But that's not the same as like getting a certain number of subscribers.
Yeah.
Which I would guess is not a requirement, because what control do you have over
You can't guarantee that, but you are expecting it, and I've seen this happen. I've seen different places be like, you promised or we expected a certain number from you, and you didn't deliver.
Yes.
So
yeah, that's very much an industry standard.
Yeah.
Like across the board. Not
Also,
even
I expect you to do publicity.
Oh, absolutely.
I expect you to go on YouTube and Twitter
all the
and all
places
this
you're
stuff.
going to abandon. I expect you to go to those places and tell everybody right
everyone
before
to
you
come
leave it all
here.
to come here.
Yes. So like they have to do work, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah. No, it's not a blank check.
Yeah, but it's work they would want to do anyway, probably.
It's work they're already doing.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
Is that in the movie Blank Check, it was $1 million.
Oh, well, because
that
nice
was
round
a lot
number.
That was a lot of money at
It's
the
a
time.
childishly simplistic number. I don't have any fundamental problem with it on any particular level. I understand, especially because in the comic book industry, it's like, yo, I get it. You got to get paid. You're not making a lot. Take the money.
Yeah,
especially if it's like
families to take care of.
Yeah, you got health insurance. You got to pay your family. You got a retirement fund, and you don't have a guarantee by being in this industry to do that.
Yeah, little Susie needs braces.
Right.
Yeah.
So I get it, but there's something about it that rubs me a little bit the wrong way, and I don't want to like crap on it because I appreciate that something is out there that's like, hey, top level comic book creators, here's all this money to change the game. Because look, at the end of the day, on paper, your favorite creators are getting a bunch of money, and at the end of the day, they're gonna make something new you've never seen before.
But here's the question, and this sort of divides the answers
argument?
you get for this.
Yeah.
Are you buying that creator because you like the creator, or you like what they're doing with the character that you love?
Well, here's the thing: is that
am I buying X author because I love Batman?
No, because the drop off is so significant from Batman to independent work. It just isn't there. It's just like because everybody who wrote for Batman would go to Image and write something that's brand new, and then you'd have 150,000 copies a month sold, and you don't. Yeah. So it's like that just doesn't exist.
Exactly.
But it's a percentage of 150,000, and if I'm like a new tech company or a 5-year-old tech company that's just gotten a huge cash infusion that makes newsletters, and I want to get
people on board
or a guaranteed number, and especially if you're in the comic book industry, you probably know the number by now, right? You know the number of what your audience is from here to here.
Yeah, you can track it.
Yeah, so it's like, I know if I leave this title for a character at the big two, and I go over here for just me, my number is this. And so I can pretty much guarantee that number to go to Substack. But you can't, by the way. Actually, when you switch over to new technologies and new platforms, you gotta expect a 50% drop off. But don't be surprised if there is a significant drop off.
Yeah,
like
so
from there to there.
Well, I'd like to know the actual numbers, which we don't know, but I'd
we
be
never will.
very curious to know, like, if you're an independent writer and you write a book for Image, and it sells hugely, you make more money, you're getting some kind of percentage.
Yes.
I wonder what that percentage is, and is the percentage much higher with Substack, and so that's part of the calculus.
It's significantly higher, number one, because you don't have to worry about publishing.
Right, there's no physical
There's no overhead.
Right.
And number two, it's just you and the creative team. Like, it's just you guys producing. So you negotiate the page rates, you pay them, and you worry about all that. And you take care of that ahead of time, so you know what you're getting into. And at the end of the day, that's the cost. The cost is just the negotiation of page rates and work put into the book.
It's more like running your own business.
Basically,
with like a little bit of help from Substack.
Yeah, well,
so
it is so much of a help where it's like, hey, it's the difference between having a business and not. Like, it's literally just being like, well, maybe one day I'd like to work on an independent book, but like I don't have a lot of time and I don't have a lot of money and I need to work on these other titles in order to make ends meet. And then the difference being, here's $1 million, go do that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's a game changer for a lot of people.
Most people aren't going to get $1 million.
Most people aren't going to get that.
Although I was reading about it, and they are offering like grants of varying different sizes.
Exactly.
To
yes,
different
they are.
People, but you must have to show up with some.
You gotta have it. Yeah.
So like for a new person trying to break in, this doesn't do anything for you.
No, and that's the expectation, I think, is that like they want you to be the magnet that draws in these new or hungry or established but not quite like AAA tier creator level.
Yeah.
Get all these independent or all these comic book creators in here. So everybody's doing that, but like, again,
hey, we're giving you 90% of whatever you're able to sell to people.
But like,
so
isn't that great?
For some people that might be seductive.
It is seductive,
if they're not thinking of like, but how many
people are going to...
What,
yeah,
though?
yeah, right. 90% of 10 people at $7 a month is not going to buy your book.
Right. So
And I think these are the numbers. Like, I don't think we're talking like tens of thousands of people here. I think we're talking hundreds, maybe thousands. Again, all speculation, and I don't want to I don't want to disparage it because I get it.
For a random new creator who produces something really cool, that's really good, what kind of numbers can they expect? Like people to just find their thing.
Right.
I would expect it to be very small, but maybe that's where the idea of these big guys creating their own little publishing labels. Maybe that's I'm going to give you exposure. You're not on your own. You're working for me.
Look how hard the comic book industry tries to push the books that come out so that people know what to pre-order and what to be excited for.
The comic book industry itself is just a messed up model of sales and exposure and marketing. Like, it's just a disaster. Like, if you don't pre-order your comic books, and these are comic books called Spider-Man or Batman, they won't sell. Yeah. Like, we will cancel certain books because you didn't go to your comic book store and tell the guy who works there that you would like the book from 6 months from now, right, and pay for it. No, it's a terrible model.
Yeah, although it's not the only place where that kind of thing happens. Video game pre-orders have been a thing, a controversial thing.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Similar reasons, because you're paying for a thing
that you don't know
the
value.
The reviews aren't even in yet. And it's pretty dodgy.
Yeah.
So like, anything that's, some people might say anything that's like not that,
right,
at least they're trying
could
something.
Help.
In a way, that's kind of what the Substack is. You're pre-ordering the book.
Well, you're pre-ordering, the creation.
Because you're paying the subscription fee.
Yeah, you don't even know what the hell this is,
well,
but they're telling you.
This is where I'd want to go on Substack and see, like, okay, how does anyone find anything on Substack?
Right.
Like, how do people decide to pay the $7 a month for these newsletters? Like,
honestly,
there must be samples.
I did create an account on Substack. I have done a little bit of the searching, and I'm subscribed to at least 4 different newsletters for free.
Oh, so they have free as well?
No, they have free options, but you can't get much from the free options.
Okay.
So I'm looking at Chip Zdarsky's page right now, and there's 4 different reward tiers. You could pay the annual for $70 a year, the monthly for $7 a month, or you can go Chip Nuts for $250 a year. Now, Chip Nuts.
Chip, I love it.
He's in marketing.
Chip
Nuts. But here's the thing. Okay, so if you get free, you get, I'll probably tell you about comics I have for sale, I guess. That's the reward tier. If you do the monthly $7 fee, you get all the comics and the videos and a nice feeling.
How many comics?
All of them.
I don't know.
All of them? What does that mean?
Could be up to 1. But you also get, you can post comments and receive them.
Oh.
Okay, so that's the monthly option.
Okay, the yearly?
The annual $70 a month gets annual members all of the previous rewards.
Sure.
Which is the thing you're paying for. Plus signing and variant and sketch golden opportunities. And I've seen the breakdown.
So those are opportunities where it's like, I might be selling something like this, or I'll offer it on a certain thing.
In Chip's case, he's also gone behind an exclusivity paywall of he's not going to conventions anymore. So if you want a book signed by Chip Zdarsky of any type, you have to send him your book. And he's not accepting books because he's not giving his address to you. But through Substack, you have an opportunity to get your book signed by Chip Zdarsky.
Only through the annual, though.
Only through the annual, and also through the annual, he will randomly, periodically produce sketches, and you'll get one.
You will get one, or you might get one? It's an opportunity.
Right now it's might, but I assume that based on the numbers we're talking here, I would assume everybody will get a sketch.
Right.
If you sign up.
Because maybe there are going to be like 15 annuals.
If you get through the $70 a year. And then if you go Chip Nuts, you get all of that, plus exclusive video hangouts, and 2 copies of a rare image variant cover.
Okay.
All right.
Video hangouts.
Yeah, you can like Skype with him.
That's weird.
It's a thing that they offer. That's the thing they offer at Patreon. Where it's like you get to.
There's a percentage of people who that appeals to.
Yes.
I don't think it's very high percentage, but they sell.
But for $250 a year, not bad.
I've definitely seen videos of like where a celebrity will record a video to someone, like you can pay for that kind of subscription.
Oh, totally.
But that's Like,
That's not talking
I know
to them
someone who's a
live.
big fan, and they would love it if you said a couple things to
Yeah.
them. That's one thing.
No.
Yeah, that's not a conversation.
No, it's like, hi. Are you really there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really here. Oh, I peed.
Let's hope that's not the interactions he has to deal with on a regular basis. By the way, another indication that it is a sweet deal is that in Chip's case, I don't mean to pick on you, Chip.
No, this is just a good example.
Using
You're
yours as an example, but like Chip is foregoing any amount he's pulling in for the year.
What?
Everything that you pay for
Yeah.
through his account, he doesn't make. He's taking that money and he's giving it to charity for a year.
Okay. That's because he got a
Because
huge
he got
lump
the
payment
Yeah,
from
so he doesn't
Substack.
need it.
Right.
No, but that's also a very nice incentive.
That's a-
like, if you want to not only support Chip, but also feel philanthropic by doing so.
Yes.
Right.
You will do it for the year.
Yeah, that's very great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
$250.
What's the charity?
For a year? That's actually really not bad.
He must have got enough that he figured, well, I don't
it.
need to, like, this is as much as I would make in a year.
right.
Or more.
I think he got more, but I think in this case it's like, well, I would be comfortable getting this on an annual basis, and if Substack is still here in a year,
Right.
I want people to be used to paying this amount.
Yeah.
You know
This is
what's
what I'm comfortable
fantastic
giving.
about this?
What's that?
And I don't mean to throw shade on this at all.
Sure, of course.
But by making those donations, you are really lowering the taxes you have to pay throughout the year.
Oh, him?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's giving the money away. But I mean, like, he's also creating a continuity of being paid for doing this thing on Substack. Let's have a look at James Tynan IV.
All right.
Okay.
What's he got?
$7 a month, $75 a year, $250 a year for the founding member. So everybody seems to have the 4 tiers.
So this might be a thing that
I think
Substack
they all
has
work-
set up. Like,
yeah.
this is the prices you can do. You either do $7 a month.
I think they can make up the price. I think all the comic book creators got together and they all decided these are the numbers we're going to go with.
Have you seen other
I've seen out of the 4
Substack things?
I've looked at other Substack things, yes, and they are different numbers.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
I think that this is just what they all agreed.
Yeah.
You know, no true
You
competition.
gotta stick within a certain range. Like
Yeah.
the monthly one was 70, this one's 75.
Yeah, this
you
one's
said. So
75.
there's like, okay, there's a little bit of a range, but
Exactly.
it's still
okay.
you know,
Yeah.
similar.
In this case, if you join James Tynan IV, you get subscriber.
What's free?
Oh, what? Yeah, what is free?
Yeah.
Occasional public posts,
Okay.
So that's my Twitter feed.
more or less.
But
yes.
less probably.
But fewer.
posts,
yeah.
yeah.
Monthly, $7 a month, subscriber-only posts, and the full archive to what he's written before.
Okay.
You can post
pretty
comments,
good.
and you're allowed to join the community. You also get early access to exclusive merchandise and comics.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The annual membership is the exact same thing.
But you're paying a little less.
You're paying a little less.
But you're paying a little
than
less.
you would if you paid monthly.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Instead of what? $84, you're paying $75.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is you get all that plus 6 variant covers exclusively available to these members, shipped directly to you over the course of the next year.
Oh, the next year.
Well, this year, I assume, but like
Yeah.
it
Oh,
says
okay.
over the course of the next year,
Like
the
from
following
They already
moment,
got
that-
like
created.
from now until then. And I
Okay.
assume also that I also assume that these guys have been already paid, and that this has already been in the works for at least a month or 2. So I think that some of these books have already been in production, so
Yeah.
that when the big rollout happens, which kind of has already been established, like I know about it now, everyone's heard about it, and the news articles are talking about it. So
Yeah.
my assumption is probably by like fall, books will start rolling out. Right. But he is leaving DC.
That is.
Well,
Whereas
That's
Zdarsky,
big.
Zdarsky's not leaving Marvel.
Yeah, I remember seeing a tweet about this where
Yeah.
it's just like, I'm not leaving Daredevil. And I
No.
was like, what do you mean you're not leaving Daredevil? Why would you leave Daredevil?
Because
Now I know what we're talking about.
Yeah, because I got a fucking retirement fund to work on something else. And he is, by the way, he's also working on, he's got these books in development already.
Right.
And they can work with anybody they want. And the fact is, when you want to make a book with a creator who is of industry level size and talent, you gotta pay industry level fees. The reason why Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo don't work together on everything is because Greg Capullo is taking DC Marvel money.
Right.
And you gotta pay him that kind of money for him to draw work away from those projects to work on your project.
Yeah.
So it's incentivizing you to be able to work with whomever you like and have that level of quality, which is not bad. Again, I appreciate the idea, but I find it I think it's the amount of creators that came at once. The fact that it's not all happening at once, but it seems like it's like a shotgun blast of information and talent all doing this.
Yeah, well, they're trying to launch.
They're trying to launch,
They're trying to launch
but it's not everybody.
And that's the great thing. It's not like the comic book industry is saying, screw it, it's all gone to hell and back.
Yeah.
We've lost our publisher licenses and certain things. We're all going this. We're all going all in Substack.
Right, it's all done. We're all doing Substack, or you're not getting comics ever again.
Right, no, it's just like Substack is trying something new, and they're pulling some creators away from it.
Yes.
But it's not changing the comic book industry overall.
Right.
You still have the comic book.
They would say that, well, we hope we are changing the comic book industry. We hope that this will be the thing that the main method by which people consume comics.
Yeah.
But like it's not going to be. I mean, Comixology would have said the same thing.
Yeah, and Comixology only
Image
makes
said the same thing.
Yeah, Image did change the industry, but only in terms of like contract negotiations and independent creators' rights. But
like you're still getting your books in a store.
Well, and when Image started, they had their own little independent creative studios that were under the Image umbrella, and they got millions. But they didn't get it from an investment team. They got it from sales, and they got those sales because of the speculators market and just the disposable market of comics and how much money came in. And it was just, and they only produced books like every so often because they were just late all the time. It was, now it was a small window. It's one of those things where it's like it's another sweetheart deal. I think that will never come again. I think Substack is one of those things where it's like, this is the time.
Yes.
And certain people got in on the
if you got paid. Good for you.
Yes.
That's it.
That's all you're going to get.
There's probably not going to be... Now, there might be... If Substack keeps going up, maybe there'll be another round.
There could be another round.
Of funding.
I wouldn't be surprised. Image did the same thing, by the way. They had the top tier artists, and then after Image was successful, the next level came in.
Yeah.
They created their own books.
Yeah.
But like, I don't see it as a one-to-one. It's just more like, this is the only thing we have as a comparison.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happens, right? Like, a company launches, they try, and if it's somewhat successful, then they might get more funding, and then they increase the size of their operations, and then you rinse and repeat and do it again.
Exactly.
If it fails and you start losing money, then maybe you abandon the initiative and no one ever hears about it again.
Right.
So one of those two things is probably going to happen.
And I think that's exactly the options we have.
And the interesting thing is that Substack has been around.
Yeah, it has been around.
I never heard of it.
No, I was surprised to see that it launched in 2017. The fact that they are a newsletter distribution service using a thing I thought had already been dead, newsletters, and that they were making money off of it, or at the very least that they were attracting investors, that they were convincing enough to
people
make money.
believed that there was a future in this method of information distribution.
Precisely.
That is, centuries old.
That's the crazy thing. There's a very local motorcycle news magazine. I think called Backroads.
Okay.
That I've been reading.
Yeah.
And they'll put out 2 books a year.
Okay. Because that's what they can afford.
That's all they can afford. And I would think that it would be dead, but there are people that subscribe and pay this.
Yes.
Right.
And you can read the online articles, and you can get a newsletter sent out to you and stuff like that.
Oh, there you go.
So there's definitely people that want it
Yes.
for what you're interested in.
Oh yeah, there's seemingly a market for everything as long as you don't your reach doesn't exceed your grasp and you're conservative. 2 books a year, I think you could probably afford that to try and get a local motorcycle enthusiasts group.
Yeah.
But there's 7 golf magazines. I'm sure that if you cater to a demographic and it's niche enough, you just gotta weigh your options and what you're willing to invest in and how much time and effort and money. Congratulations to those creators who got that opportunity to do these things. I genuinely hope that they're dope and that the readers who purchase them or purchase the opportunity to read them are
happy with
the product. But
I'm sure some of them will be.
I'm sure,
Just like some people are happy with the podcast they consume and their newsletters that they get. And some people
and the subscription
decide
services that they pay for and sometimes don't use for months on end.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And some people will be like, you know what, this isn't
Not
worth
it,
and I'm not going to do it. It's the kind of thing I would never pay for a newsletter.
No.
Ever in my life. I don't understand that.
I have subscribed to newsletters. I have read them, and I have never in my life thought this is worth money.
Yeah. But clearly some people, I've never bought a podcast either.
No.
But I know people do.
Yeah, if
I
you
can't
know
say
one person that does it, you know 1,000 people that do it.
Yeah.
That's how the metrics work out. That's true though, and I think that it's one of those things where I'm like, but is it a lot? Like, is it asking a lot for everyone, for like the biggest names in the comic book industry to all at once basically create a Patreon and say, give me this?
Well, we'll find out.
I guess so.
I'll say, I think it's a lot to say, abandon the companies you're working
Well, I don't
for
think they're
already.
well,
not all of them are.
did. Some
no.
of them- yeah.
And you're saying to them, not to the readers, because like we're not.
Correct.
Like comic book readers are not going to be like,
comic book readers are not saying,
this is it. Later DC, later
Yeah.
Marvel.
Yeah, up yours.
Nobody's
Yeah.
going to say that.
I'm a Substack guy now. I only read Substack comics. That's all I read.
the whole idea for Substack to say, like, I don't think this is the stipulation, but like, leave your company and come work
Yeah.
for us.
Well, yeah, take that money you're
Exclusively.
spending. You only have a certain amount to spend.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you take some of that, what, $20 a month you spend on comics,
Right.
and just
Parlay it over there.
just stop buying a couple of books that you buy.
Because you have to.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, is what you're asking them not to buy books. Like,
Yes.
you are basically
Yes.
saying, like, divert some
Yeah,
of your
'cause,
normal monthly comic book
People
fund.
only got so much money.
That's the thing.
You know.
And that's the thing I think that why I'm like so like why my hair's raised up a little bit is because I'm like, in order to consume media today, it's virtually impossible for it to be free. Like everything is some cost.
Yeah.
And leading back to your being nickel and dimed.
Right, and I really like. I'm sick of being nickel and dimed, and I don't necessarily think this is that.
Here's another thing I have to pay for.
Yes, it's another new thing.
Oh, great. Now I have to pay more money. So do I just shell out more money and be poorer, or do I cut back on something else?
Right,
You have
you're
to make more
asking me to make some
decisions.
kind of sacrifice, and
Yes.
it's like,
Well,
know.
here's the thing. How many people they're really asking that of?
Right.
Because how many people are even
entertaining this notion.
would even entertain it, because you're not going to get Superman or Spider-Man or Batman.
No, that's true.
through the-
Yeah,
know,
if
so
they
it's like,
created an independent book, those
it's
people
really
who
just
would, it's
for
just for their
independent,
fans.
book consumers.
Yes, that's right. That's true.
So really, I would maybe be most concerned for like Image,
Yeah, that's true.
right? Because they're like, but there's not even that many of these people.
Well, no, because here's the thing: is that like I'm going to make a deal with Image, and then I'll sell the books in print to them.
Maybe
After their audience has already paid me
Yeah,
on a monthly
okay.
basis to produce the book.
Yeah, so if you're a person who buys from Image, then it'll just be like you live in the UK and you just get everything like 12 months later.
Yeah.
But everyone will be in that boat.
Right, except, well, hopefully
Well,
not,
physically.
because I need some of those people to pay me $7 or $70
yes,
a month
Yeah, that's
to
true.
get it at the top of the
Right.
at the time. Otherwise, there's no point in me doing this.
Well, how many? So here's the question: how many need to?
Right.
How many people need to sign up for Substack for it to be self-sustaining?
Right.
And like worth it to bother?
Yeah.
For these creators.
I don't know.
And that's the other interesting thing is that I really thought the prices were fixed. Like
Yeah.
you have a monthly, you have a yearly, and then you have like the crazy level.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could tweak it.
The fact that someone could be like, yeah, you could like, check out Chip Zdarsky for $7 a month. Or you could check out my stuff for $5 a
Right.
month. I'm a creator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
You're
I
like,
think
oh.
I think the equalizer is
That's what
that, like,
should happen. That's
and I think it will happen.
Capitalism,
But
you
right
know?
now they're all like, well, we all got a nice big check, so let's all not compete
let's
with
not
each other.
fuck each other
Yeah,
right.
let's not fuck each other now. We'll wait a year. If it's still happening, if this thing still exists,
then I'm out for blood.
then it's Thunderdome. But before that, we're all part of the same community, man.
right.
$75 or $70, it's not much when you think about it.
Yeah.
That's them,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing. I don't think it's in any way going to change the industry. I don't think it's in any way going to upset the apple cart. I don't think it's going to change the practices of Marvel or DC or Image or Boom or anybody. I think at the end of the day, it's just, hey, some of your at the end of the day, really, honestly, like I feel like the headline is, hey, a bunch of your favorite creators got a shitload of money this year.
You might see fewer books
By
from the
them.
big two by these creators.
Totally. No,
for
you
a
will.
little while.
Guaranteed.
Much like Image.
Yeah.
When Image came around, the art probably got a little bit worse.
Right,
at
right. Or
Marvel
at the very
and
least,
DC.
it didn't get competitive.
Yeah.
So
on
it
the
was-
other hand, create us a whole bunch of room
and that's what
for
I'm
new
thinking.
talent.
That's true. That's a great
That's big
opportunity.
too.
Yeah. I'm sure Marvel and DC are like thinking about it.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, but how many of them are leaving? Like, how much room does this really free
Well,
up?
right.
in
Well,
the
it really
industry?
only. Yeah, it's not like any of them are writing 4 books. They're
Yeah.
all writing probably 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's true. But if they,
But it is a gap.
If they do take some talent with them, if this
they will. Some of them
concept
are.
of them paying other people to produce more books under their imprint, it might be more than, it might be double or triple, or
so
quadruple
it's like 10
the
or
number.
12.
Yeah, it's a multiplier if they're dragging multiple people away.
It's true.
So
especially if you can like take the chunk of change that you're getting from Substack, whether it's the upfront cost or what you're making on the year, and use that to be like, hey,
I'm paying
you were getting paid like what, $20 a page, $25 a page.
Right.
I'm going to be paying you $40 a page.
Oh, yeah.
Instead to do the art.
That's what the studios at Image did.
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is brilliant, but it also bankrupted these people.
well, and it's only going to work for like a little while,
it
right?
only works until the money's gone.
Right, and
works
then
until
Marvel and
the money's
DC
gone.
will be like, "Hey, we're still here. People still buying Batman.
Yeah.
Oh, but I got all these new artists who are now came up and filled your places. I don't actually need." See, to me, it's a risk. If I was a creator and Scott Snyder invited me to be part of his
Best
imprint,
Jacket,
I'd be like, I don't know. Like maybe if it fails, DC will take me back. Maybe they won't.
Right. If I'm
Maybe
small
they'll
enough
find
where it
somebody
doesn't matter.
else,
Oh yeah.
So, but on the other hand, if you feel like you don't want to work for a Titanic
yeah.
company anymore, that you feel is not giving you
Your fair due.
yeah, or as much freedom or
Yes.
creativity, then like that might be attractive. So
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, maybe I want to draw Batman's dick.
well, you can, but you can draw someone else's dick.
Yeah, you could draw, Catman's dick. Except Catman works for DC too, so you really can't. No, I'm sorry, you can't.
Ratman.
Ratman. There we go.
Ratman's
dick, fair game. You get a whole 12-issue miniseries out of it. It's gonna be great. So I'm interested to see what you say in the comments down below. Will you be subscribing to Substack? And if you are, who are you gonna follow? I want to know. So thanks a lot for listening or watching, and we'll see you guys next time here on this channel. Make sure to subscribe because we make all kinds of stuff, and it'll cost you nothing to do it.
And if you really want to show your love and support, you can always go to the Patreon.
That's true.
It's not necessary,
Patreon.com/ComicPop.
but it helps
No
out a lot.
obligation, but it does help if you want to directly help the show out. But otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
So long.